And that opens us up. All right. Welcome back.
Humans Anonymous, episode 19.
I mean, you welcome back.
Oh, me?
It's been a couple episodes since
I know.
we've seen you.
I
but
know.
You're right. We should welcome the people here. Welcome to episode 19 of Humans Anonymous. I am Landon.
I'm Amaria.
And we're excited to be able to have you guys listening or watching with us wherever you are listening or watching. We're glad you're here. As always, go ahead and check out www.mwah.net. If you are enjoying the content that we're putting up, want to see more, want to get in contact with us, want us to come speak at a school or an event, just let us know. You can find all our contact information up on the website. So how have you been?
Good. I got a new hairstyle.
You got a new hairstyle. I got a new hairstyle.
Look
at you. She's blonde now.
It's supposed to be gray. It's just my hair's not cooperating. And so now it's like this silver type blonde. Yeah. So
Silver blonde.
Yes. Yes.
Right on.
And then
how you feeling?
Good. I'm feeling good. Yes.
How are the babies? I'm asking you like I don't see you guys every day. Like I don't live with you. How are the babies doing?
They're growing up.
They are growing up.
I hate it.
Much too quickly. I did want to take a second to introduce a couple new people. We have a couple new people with us in the studio. Last week, we actually had him in here, but Amaria wasn't here to introduce him. You want to go ahead?
Guys.
We finally found one of the Supernatural characters.
Listen, I am a big fan of Supernatural. Okay. And I have been looking for Funko Pops for like just people in the show in general. It didn't have to be Dean. It didn't have to be Sam, but like, you know, those are the top ones. Okay.
For anybody who knows Supernatural.
We
are getting a new shelf soon.
Dean.
We found Dean from Supernatural.
Well, okay, let's talk about this real quick. I found Demon Dean with the first blade and the mark of Cain.
So he's a little special edition, kind of. For anybody out there who knows what the heck she's talking about. We've also got another MVP in the studio today. He's right underneath. This is one I've needed for a while. I've been collecting the office ones. And just today, this is his first day in the studio. Michael Scott, everybody. Michael Scott has entered the chat. So we're going to get a new shelf for them. Hopefully by the next episode, we'll have it up. And we're going to keep adding to the collection so you guys get to watch it grow. If you have any suggestions for who we should throw up there,
also
let us know. Otherwise, we're just going to keep going with what we've been doing.
Also, if anyone knows,
not that anybody even cares about us collecting our Funko Pops, but
listen, if anyone knows where I can find a Sam or a Castiel or a Bobby Funko Pop from Supernatural,
we're having trouble getting our hands.
Please message me.
Trying to get my hands on one of them. All right.
They're very hard to find.
So, we got a couple new guys there, obviously, as always. We've got all the rest of them up there, but they are running out of room. We have been building a nice little collection back there, and so we're beginning to run out of room as we build this studio up. Hopefully, we'll be able to expand and maybe do some new things. Hold on 1 second. I'm doing this mid-show. I'm going to do it.
Also to mention,
right, sorry everybody, it was gonna tweak me out for the whole show if I didn't do it. Go ahead.
Also, you cut me right off. Also to mention,
like
we
this? All right, go ahead.
We are having some technical difficulties with our camera today. So if you just see like what do we call it? Glitching?
Flickering.
The
lighting was flickering on the camera a little bit. So
yeah, just don't mind it.
Just pretend it's not happening.
We're trying not to.
It might be you. Maybe your lights are going out.
Or ours.
All right. Well, without further ado, I think we should probably get into the episode.
Okay. Do you want to talk about today's topic? Like, do you want to lead it off, or you just want me to jump right in?
So basically, this is kind of an idea that we've had for doing for an episode for a while, but we just took a few questions that you had about addiction. Someone being not an addict and not an alcoholic, but growing up around a lot of that. Obviously, there's a lot of questions that come with that. So we're only going to nail, 3 or 4 today?
4.
So we're not going to do a whole lot, but we are going to talk about some things that I felt were kind of like what would be common questions among a lot of people who aren't alcoholics, who deal with alcoholics or addicts. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
Okay.
let's get into it.
So my first question.
Hey, real quick. I know I've been cutting you off this whole episode, but it's good to have you back. It's nice to have you in the studio. Being alone, it's nuts. I'm going to make you do a little solo episode soon, and you'll see.
I would probably do great.
It's different. Definitely different.
I wouldn't have people cutting me off.
All right, so go ahead.
Okay. So on a serious note, let's start these questions. So my first question to you, being someone who has struggled with addiction and alcoholism, the first question is just going to be about addiction.
Okay.
Feel free to answer it however you feel.
That
so,
sounds fair.
Okay.
I can do that.
All right. How did your addiction start to affect your family? Like before me and the kids, just your family, your parents and your siblings in general.
Yeah, well, definitely early on, it looked a lot different than it did towards the end when things were kind of at that boiling point, so to speak. But yeah, there came a point when it stopped just being the thing that I was doing and was like affecting me to starting to affect relationships and affect who I was. And I think that it started pretty quickly because as soon as you start doing drugs or drinking alcohol, if you're doing it underage, you're kind of required to cover it up. Right. Hide it.
Right.
And so from a very early age, it turned me into a pretty good con artist in a lot of ways.
Okay.
In the sense of I got good at hiding what I was doing or deceiving people and having them thinking I was acting or doing one thing and completely doing another thing. And I would say it probably started with my parents, just driving a little bit of a wedge between us because as soon as you start to hide things from your parents, there starts to become some sort of distance there. And growing up, me and my mom were always very, very close. But when I was in the rut of my addiction and my alcoholism, I would not talk to her very much at all because I didn't want her to know how I was doing. I didn't want to have to lie. I didn't want to, because I knew if I talked to her, I was going to have to lie about how I was doing. Right. And so definitely early on, it drove that wedge in between me and my parents. And obviously later on, the same thing happened with, me and you as things progressed. And so I would say that is definitely a common factor in a lot of alcoholics is it turns you into manipulative person.
Okay.
And that's hard to shake even after the alcohol, And so I kind of want to flip that on you if that's okay.
Okay.
Because I know you have grown up around a lot of stuff. And so how, or I guess, when did you see your family's alcoholism or drug addiction start to affect your family? Because I know for me at a very young age, I was very unaware of a lot of addiction and alcoholism and what that looked like. But I know for you, that was a lot different. And so I know there's probably some people out there too who know addiction very well and know alcoholism very well from a different perspective.
I want to say around 10 years old.
Yeah.
Is when.
Was there a moment that you realized like, oh, this is like bad? Or was there an event that happened? Or had something gone down that made you realize what was going on with your family or what?
It was more of my mom, my birth mother. I was in 5th grade. We were living in this beautiful townhouse. She got depression. And she lost her job.
And she was, I'm guessing, using pills at the time?
She was. She was using pills to cope. She had
not like a prescribed dosage.
No, she was buying them. Yeah, she was buying them from family members who could get them or people that she knew that were family friends. People who sold their prescriptions for money.
or otherwise known as drug dealers.
Yes. I was trying to keep it clean here.
You're good.
No, I was about 10 years old and something very traumatic happened in her life that caused her to fall into this depression. And that's when she started, hiding her feelings from herself. And she started sleeping a lot. She got fired from Shelter Care Ministries, which was this organization that helped the homeless.
So she had been doing some positive things.
She was doing great. Yeah, we did parades down at the bridge for this place. We did car washes. We did a whole bunch of stuff like fundraisers. And then we lost our house. We had to sell everything in our house, and then we were homeless. And I know that took a really big toll on her, and just from there things got worse and worse and worse up until she died. But that was the starting point, and I immediately knew that something was different with my mom. Especially when, we had a family member move in who was also doing the same things.
Yeah.
Or
well,
her.
There was something that you said in there though that was really kind of spot on. You said she was hiding her feelings even from herself.
Yes.
And I think I've said this before on here. It's something that we talk about in recovery and addiction all the time is alcoholism or addiction is the only disease that tells you don't have a disease.
Right.
And so that's just like that replayed in my mind when you said that. It's like I have personally been in addiction at times where I have been like concealing my own feelings from myself,
right,
to try to protect myself or something.
Just the moral of the story is like 10 years old is when I started to learn that if mom didn't have her pills, it was not going to be a good day.
Gotcha.
Just
and so that's how it kind of started to affect
and that's,
you as a child,
especially with other family members, because then I started to realize that it wasn't just her.
Okay.
It was people very close
like
to me.
A point where you got to that realization of what was going on.
Yes.
Like it had been affecting you, but now you knew.
Yes, I knew exactly what was going on.
Put your finger on it.
I would go with to get the pills. So.
Yeah. I think that we've talked about some of those trips before.
Yes.
Some wild stuff. But okay, well, yeah. Did that answer that question?
Yes, it did.
Answered my question.
Yes. So my second question to you is sorry, I'm glitching myself.
It's a glitchy day.
So even after you knew you needed to get clean, why did you keep using? I know that's probably a very hard question.
Oh no, it's hard and easy.
Okay.
Because like it's a hard answer because how do you actually answer that? But it's easy answer because it's addiction.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, there was a point in my life where I knew I needed to get clean. Mm-hmm. I knew that it was not going to get any better. My life, the way I felt, I would have, and I know that this might get a little PG-13, but there would be times where I would go weeks and weeks in a row where I would stay up all night doing cocaine or popping pills and then talk to somebody about how terrible I felt the next day and then go out and do it again the next night.
Okay.
And so I think that that's kind of like what you're talking, like that ultimate realization of I knew I had to get clean. I knew I hated the feeling, but every night I still went out.
What do you think led you to go back out and do it that night?
And that's kind of where
like what was
a little hard to answer, but like go ahead.
Like, do you think that you were more scared of feeling those feelings that I was just talking about, or do you think it was the feeling of going through withdrawal? What do you think led you to go back out?
I didn't really know about how I would be in withdrawal when I stopped.
Okay.
Everything, because like I dealt with that when I stopped using drugs, and I dealt with withdrawal when I stopped drinking, and I didn't really expect or know that was going to happen. I was more just looking for a moment of peace. I kept doing it because no matter how bad I felt after, I kept on thinking that if I did it one more time, that would be enough.
Okay.
I got to a point where I knew in my brain, this is not working. This makes you feel shitty other than 30 minutes.
Okay.
But as soon as I'm feeling crappy and I'm down and I'm low, I think that the only thing to make me feel better is just one more. It's never I need all the drugs in the world.
Do you
It's
think
just this one more, and I have to apologize for cursing because I realized I just let one slip.
I didn't even hear it?
But yeah, it's about, to me, it was that feeling of and it's insanity. It's insanity, but that feeling of it. I can just do one. If I just do one more, if I just do this one last night, I won't ever do it again. But
well, think of it this way. Just like, because I mean,
does that make sense?
Yes,
Does
yes.
that answer at all?
Yeah, I'm trying. So like when you would say, I'm feeling this low and I'm feeling this down and I'm feeling this crappy, do you think possibly that was your body withdrawing?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. Like every time that I wasn't high, my
Right.
body was shot into
Right.
withdrawals. I
Yeah.
didn't know it was withdrawals.
Mhm.
I thought I felt bad about myself because I had just done drugs.
Right.
And I did, but it was the withdrawal too. It felt like this demon on top of my back, just talking crap to me. That's what
Okay.
it felt like. It felt like evil over
Okay.
me. And I knew that if I went out that night and took that pill, that I wouldn't feel that until that pill wore off.
Right.
And that's what got me into the cycle of, when I moved to Milwaukee, I would keep a bag of pills in my sock.
Okay.
So that I never had to not feel that way.
Okay.
You know, and I would just maintain that high. And then when I got off work, I would do even more. And then it would be that feeling that I started to chase. And it just got bigger and bigger and turned into this monster, you know, and it kept on. And the funny thing is like the whole time, like you said, I knew I needed to get sober.
Right.
And I would make little
excuses.
Not even excuses. I'd be like, I'm going to stop doing cocaine while I'm at work. I'm going to stop drinking on the job.
Little set goals.
Stop doing this till the weekend. Yeah.
So little set goals for yourself.
You say, I'm good. I'm not an alcoholic or an addict because I've followed these guidelines I set up for myself. But all it is organized alcoholism and organized addiction.
Yes. Yeah.
That's all it is.
Okay.
Know? And I had basically just set my days up every day to, I do X, Y, Z to get through the day, and it wasn't landing at all.
Right.
It was just these substances pushing this carcass through life. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And it sounded like, breaking it down like this is awful.
I know. I know how bad it must sound.
But it's good to say it out loud, because you're right. From the outside, it's like they know they should be getting clean. Why are they not?
It's just, it takes a hold of you.
Yes.
It takes over your whole body.
And it changes the way that your mind
thinks.
It changes the way you think. You start to think stupid things like, even though I've been addicted to this for 2 years and I haven't not done it for 2 years, if I just do it one more time tonight, like, that's insane. What are you talking about? But that's addiction. And that's why I said in the beginning, such an easy answer. That's addiction. It makes no sense. It grabs a hold of you and it won't let go.
Well, that actually leads me into my next question.
Okay.
How did alcohol affect your thinking? Give me some scenarios, or examples from yourself of how alcoholism took over your mind, basically, on how to consume it.
Yeah. So I think that very similar to kind of like how we were talking, like it made me into someone who constantly was having to cover things up.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I guess I'm trying to explain it without saying what I've already said. It you know, and I think that I kind of previously kind of answered that in the last question, but I'll just kind of reiterate it.
I'm trying to get like actions that you have done with alcohol just itself, not with more of the not more of the drug use.
Well, I mean, with like the whole secretive side of things, like it would change every situation was this game of how can I drink?
Right.
That's what it really became. You know, how can I get away with people not knowing I'm drinking? It changed the way that I thought about every situation I went into. And I mean, I know you remember, I would, let me have a beer before I go so that I can go into this situation already a little, you know, buzzed and be better. And then I would get to whatever function we were going to, and 20 minutes into the function, I would be out in the car looking for whatever shot I brought with, or, you know, it turns life into this game of how can I get the next one? Just like we were talking about with addiction, it's like it turned my
Well, it is an addiction.
Yes, it is.
It's
Although they're different, they are very much the same.
yes.
And so yeah, it
One's just legal.
it seeped into the places in my life, in my mind, that I thought were sacred. Family get-togethers, bedtime, playing video games. Everything became I have to do it with a drink in my hand, or I have to do it while I'm smoking a joint. And I feel very bad for you because you had to, witness all of that. And I can't remember how many times, before we would leave to go to our friend's house, would be like, I got to smoke real quick. And you'd be like, do you? I'd go, oh yeah, I do. Because I thought that I had to do this thing. And that's kind of, alcohol does the exact same thing. And I won't, share anything, but we have even seen recently with not a family member, but somebody that we've been in contact with, but kind of watched the same thing and seen the same thing at certain events that we were at with them. Of you see it because I've been through it now, and so I see, like, no matter who you are, it will take you. And for some reason, unless you are full of a family of people who drink a lot or are alcoholics, it'll make you hide it, and you start to see those things when you recognize that somebody is struggling with alcohol.
I caught on very fast. Yes.
Yeah.
It was more of a hindsight.
Yeah.
Like it was out there, even though it wasn't.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing about it too, is like, as addicts and alcoholics,
and I'm not even
talking about changing the way it makes us.
And think. I'm not even an addict or alcoholic.
Yeah. But like talking about the way it changes the way we think, like, I used to go through weeks, months where I thought that nobody knew that I was drinking or smoking. And it's like, people know.
Yeah.
People just aren't saying. And just because someone doesn't confront you about the
they
fact
don't want
that
to
you
fight about
like
it.
Alcohol every time you came to their
it's
house,
either
And so it's like, the way it changes your mind is it makes you think that you don't have this problem that you have.
Just because someone's not saying
out
something.
of my leg, my mind wouldn't tell me you're fine.
Right.
But when I'm stuck in addiction, when I can't stop drinking, your mind is like, yeah, one more. And it's just nuts. It's like your mind's working against you. And so I definitely think that drugs and alcohol definitely corrupt and take over the way that you think about everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, for someone, I'm saying, like, for someone in your position and the person that you are, I understand that.
Yeah.
But on my side, in my brain, if I say one drink, I'm only having one drink. You get what I'm saying?
I just talked to somebody at work about that the other night. It was funny. Somebody came up to me because I'm real cool with everybody at work. And I don't necessarily care for everybody at work, but I'm nice to everybody at work.
Everybody at work that's watching this, Landon could care less about you.
Hey, that's not even close to the truth.
I was just kidding.
I love you guys.
No, he talks about all of you guys.
Most of you. But somebody was asking me if I drank, and I was telling them that I don't drink, and for some reason they really wanted to get to the bottom of why I don't drink. And I was kind of weird to explain to him. I was like, I can't just do the one drink thing. And he's like, what do you mean? Just say you're only going to have 2 drinks and then just have 2 drinks. And I'm like, what you're saying makes no sense to you. That makes no sense to me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just having 2 drinks sounds, I can't comprehend just having 2 drinks, but to him, he can't comprehend not being able to control how many you drink.
Right.
And so like it's funny that you would say that, because we just had that conversation at work, and I'm like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with, I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody enjoying a drink if you can do that, but I am not that person.
Right. No, and
the person who can just have one.
See, and I think that's been really good for you and your sobriety. I just want to give myself an applause a little bit. Because as someone who used to really enjoy drinking like a lot, I was still able to stop whenever I wanted to. And now with you and your sobriety, I don't drink.
Well, like for you, there wasn't a starting and stopping because it wasn't a constant.
Right. But
It
I'm
was
just
like an every once in a while. So I absolutely get what
I'm
you're
saying like
It's
even now, I mean, Liv's what, almost 2?
yeah,
I can count on one hand how many times I've drank.
right. Had a glass of wine or whatever.
Yeah.
And so
And I just want to say, like, sometimes, as an adult woman, I'll be like, I really need a drink. But I don't, because is that the right place and the right time to do it? So I get what you're saying. Like, in your brain, it's like, man, I really need a drink. I'm gonna go out and get hammered.
yeah,
Yeah.
the thought process of an alcoholic is like, I really want to drink, so I am going to plaster myself to the wall. Like,
And then there's like me, someone who's like me is, man, I really want to drink, and is able to enjoy that one.
Or will enjoy half of it.
Half of it,
like,
even,
good.
and be like, that hit the spot, like I don't need anymore. So I get what you're saying.
And I think that it's very important to know which one you are.
Yes, very important.
I do, especially if you are the me. Especially if you're the me one. Okay. But anyway, did you have any other questions that you wanted to hit? I know, what are we at, like 26 minutes? We still got another couple if you want to hit one. What do you think?
I have one more.
One more? We'll do it quick.
Okay. I'm sorry. I have something stuck in my tooth.
Don't do it. Just work through it.
Okay. So this is more of like a better question. It's about your sobriety now.
Okay.
But it's like, how do you think your addiction or alcoholism affects you in your sobriety long term?
Long term.
Long term.
In the here and now. In the here and now and in the later.
Later.
Just the later.
Later.
Okay.
I need to get
You're not going to acknowledge it at all?
I don't care.
Okay.
I have something stuck in my tooth. I'm so sorry.
Jeez, woman.
I'm sorry.
You don't toothpick before every single episode? My
No.
gosh.
No.
I hired someone to toothpick for me before every episode.
Who, Mona? All right. No, but answer my question, please.
No, I will. I'm just being a little.
Let's stay away from my teeth.
So yeah, long term, I think that unfortunately this is a lifelong disease.
Yes.
It's not like I'm ever going to be cured from alcoholism and we'll be able to go back out and have a drink. And so long term, it's always going to be, I have to make the right decision. I have to make the conscious decision to not drink, not use. It's not something that I'm just going to get past one day and go, excuse me, and go like I never struggle with it anymore. Right. My sponsor, he was sober for a decade or two and then went out and relapsed. And I think he's got almost 20 years again, but like,
oh, wow.
Just he was in the program staying sober for a long time. And then even after however many years, there it is. You get one every episode now. I'm giving you one every episode, okay? You used your one. It's done. All right. Y'all heard it here. We're going to have to start like a counter up here or something. You get one. But what were we talking about?
You know what? I can't help it.
Come on. What were we talking about? Bring it back.
St. John.
Oh, yeah. My sponsor. I call him St. John. He was working a program for a long time. And even after working a program for a long time, he started to get taken over by self-will again. I can do it. I can handle it. Or I know better, and this is the solution for me right now. Whatever it was that eventually brought him down, and I've seen it with, you're not seen it, but I've heard it in a lot of different stories from a lot of guys in the program. Like, I was sober for 25 years. I was sober for 8 years. I was sober for 13 years and went out and, felt like I could handle the world again. Stopped going to meetings, stopped working recovery, and before I knew it, I was sitting in the bar, And so long term, it's going to be something that I always have to stay aware and conscious of. It's going to be something that I always have to stay on my toes with. But I genuinely believe, and this is something I heard that I have kept with me because I genuinely believe it. I think that alcoholism and addiction is the only disease that after you get through it, makes you a better person. Instead of a weaker, more unhealthy person, this disease makes you a better person. There might be the physical downsides that come with some of people's alcoholism. But for me, the idea of having to deal with this for the rest of my life has started to become more of a blessing than anything else. because now I have all of these tools that I've learned in recovery that I use in all aspects of my life. You know, I have all of these different ways that I can control my feelings, that I can process and respond to scenarios.
Okay.
All learned in recovery and in AA meetings and NA meetings and HA meetings. I go to all of them because all of them got something good, you know? HA or HA meetings. But that idea has become a lot more peaceful to me, because we've even talked in the last few months about how, like, I know that I'm an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I can never drink like a normal person, but it's really frustrating to be an alcoholic. But recently, and we talked about this a few weeks ago, just like the things that I've been going through lately and dealing with, I feel very blessed to have the experience that I do have, and to be able to take that and help other people kind of get through that as well. Because if I wasn't an alcoholic, if I wasn't an addict, if I hadn't gone through what I went through, I wouldn't be doing this with you.
Right. And I know that.
You know, and I've got family members who I've been able to help because of my experience, and I wouldn't have been able to do that if I wasn't an alcoholic. And also, like, I save money. I don't have to buy beer anymore. So but long story short, yes, I think long term, the main thing is just like, you have to be aware of that forever.
This is probably going to be a hard question, and it's I'm sorry, it's not a question from the questions that I had originally wanted to ask, because as someone who does not have an issue with alcohol, I'm 24, you're 25. Do you feel like you've wasted all that time, like being, I don't even know how to word this. Do you feel like you're losing out? Like you're missing all the fun.
Yeah. Here's what I know.
Okay.
For me.
Okay.
When I was doing all of those things, when I was drinking, when I was doing drugs, I don't really have very many fun, really good, wholesome, fun memories.
Okay.
Of like me and my friends just having fun.
Well, I'm saying like
drinking. So let me hold on.
Okay, sorry.
And so for me to even think about, you know, what if I was drinking again, or what if I was able, it's hard for me to even like think about that, because I know how it was when I was drinking,
right?
And it sucked.
Okay.
And people didn't really like me, you know, and I got into fights a lot.
Yeah.
And I got my butt whooped a lot. And I was in and out of jail. And like, I get what you're saying. Like, what if you weren't an alcoholic?
Yeah.
But it's like, I can't even comprehend that. So
right.
How would I feel like I'm missing out on something that I don't know what the feeling
right.
is?
And I guess it's
all
just
I've ever known is taking everything to the ultimate and next
right. And I
extreme.
guess it could just be me as your partner, as you know, your wife who is going to be with you long term, you know, to think like,
I'm only 25. I can never drink again. Like, is he missing out on anything?
Am I doing too much? And, you know, like if I have a glass of wine, is that hurting him?
Right.
You know, all those things like come to my mind. Or like, if I ask if I can go out with my friends to a bar or something, I'm like, does he feel like?
And I know we talk about that, but it's different talking about it than the actual situation.
Yeah. So, you know, I just wanted to know from your perspective on what that was like for you.
I think that you would probably agree. Since I've been sober, I've probably been a goofier, more fun person.
Yeah, you're not as much moody.
You know, and so I still have bad days.
We're gonna do PG on that. You're not moody.
I just want to go home and curl up and not talk to anybody because I want to isolate myself. I
feel like everybody does that.
Yeah, but I feel like as far as that question goes, I think sobriety has brought me a lot more joy and a lot more fun in the time that I have had with my family, with friends, than drinking or doing drugs with them every day.
Right.
You know? My fun memories from drinking and doing drugs were like throwing fireworks in porta potties and like just stupid things that could have gotten me.
I mean, I did that stuff and I wasn't.
But now I am sober and I get to go skate and learn how to skate well instead of BSing and falling all over the place and jacking myself up because I was drunk.
I'm sorry. I know we're at like 35 minutes, but I have one more question, and I'm so sorry.
Quick, and then we have got
How do you think it is hard for you? And we've talked about this, but I want to touch base on this again. Do you think it is hard for you to be around the people that you did drugs and did drink with now? Like people who are still drinking and, being able to, have a drink at a bar, but you get what I'm saying?
Amaria, some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them I'll never see again. And that's life. I went down a different path, and the one that I have gone down, the choices that I'm making, the things that I'm doing, I can't let anything into my purview, into my life that's going to threaten that.
Right. Okay.
And even when we have been doing Rocky over the past year,
Mm-hmm.
we've had that conversation. What do we need to do that we can still meet our goals?
Right.
Your goal with your life and my goal and my sobriety, whatever we need to do for that, because my sobriety is the most important thing.
Right.
So as soon as I got sober, there were people that got cut out of my life that I probably will never talk to again. Not because there's anything wrong with them, but just because they're still doing the things that I'm trying to avoid.
Right. Okay.
If they were to come to me in a different situation, I don't have anything against anybody from my past. I don't, not see anybody for that reason. And there are some people from my past who I used to use and drink with, who I do have good relationships with.
Mm-hmm.
But most of them went by the wayside because I'm 25 years old and all of my friends are about 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And right now the hot thing to do is go out to the club, to the bar, to Chicago, to Madison. And so when I'm like, oh, well, I'll go with, but I won't drink. Well,
right.
Nobody wants him with. I don't really want to even say that. So I'll probably just not, so there are just a lot of factors into that. But yeah, there were a lot of people that just, if we
faded
see each
away.
other, we see each other, but I can't be friends with anymore,
Right. Right.
But yeah, that's a good question.
Okay. Well, that's all I have.
I've had a good time. This was a good conversation.
You think?
Yeah, I think so.
I
think we went way too long. We always do this. I'm annoying. I just caught myself talking way too much, and I'm sorry.
Well, gosh, it's like as soon as I started a question and heard you talking, I'm like, oh, I have another question about this topic. And I'm so sorry about that because I know I probably asked some questions that were probably uncomfortable for you. And I'm just sitting here like, oh, maybe I should ask him this. So.
I have walked home at 3:00 in the morning through streets I didn't know in Milwaukee with a dead phone and a bag of drugs in my pocket looking like a rich white boy. I don't think that you can do anything to make me uncomfortable.
Oh, babe, I think I have.
I know that was probably a bad joke, but whatever.
It was a very bad one because I have in fact made him feel uncomfortable.
We love you guys. Thank you so much again for watching, listening, wherever you're watching or listening. Go check us out again, www.mwah.net. Messages which are hopeful. Anything else for these people? We love you guys. It's been Humans Anonymous. Thank you.